This is Mattala, the world's emptiest airport, a billion-dollar ghost town. You arrive. The road is long, dusty, and emptiness surrounds you. Then it appears like a mirage in the heat. Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport, grand, modern, and utterly breathtakingly silent. No roar of jet engines, no calls for boarding, just the sigh of the wind through empty gates. Inside, the dust settles on check-in counters, on baggage carousels. Sunlight streams through giant windows illuminating nothing. A cathedral of silence, a testament to a dream, or perhaps a nightmare, depending on who you ask. How does a brand new airport costing millions become a ghost ship, landlocked, forgotten by the skies? It's about people, politics, power, money, and a dream that flew too close to the sun. It started with a name, Rajapaksa, a powerful name, Mahinda Rajapaksa. The president then, his vision, his home district, Hambantota rural, undeveloped, he wanted to change that, to uplift his people. An airport, a gleaming new airport, that was the key. It would bring tourists, jobs, prosperity, a gateway to the south, a new economic engine, or so the story went, the official narrative. The vision was grand, ambitious, almost audacious. This wasn't just an airstrip, this was to be Sri Lanka's second international airport, a rival to Colombo, a hub for the region. It would ease congestion, open up new tourist trails, the nearby Yala National Park, the beaches, the culture, all waiting to be discovered by plane loads of visitors, a bold stroke, a statement to the world. Dreams cost money. Big dreams cost big money. Sri Lanka didn't have that kind of cash. So they looked east to China, a willing lender, the Export-Import Bank of China. They opened the purse strings, around $200 million, a hefty sum. The loan agreement was signed, the deal was done, construction began fast, very fast. China was not just a lender but also the builder. Chinese companies, Chinese labor, some said, Chinese expertise. They moved with speed, efficiency. The structure rose quickly from jungle scrub to gleaming terminal in record time. The Rajapaksa government wanted results. They got them. A palpable sense of progress, of things happening. This was nation building on a grand scale. Visible proof. The initial expectations were sky high, literally. The paint was still fresh, the glass still gleamed, but the planes, they were few and far between. The passenger numbers a trickle, not a flood. Airlines started pulling out one by one. Fly Dubai left, citing low profitability. No surprise there. Sri Lankan Airlines reduced flights, then stopped them. The vast terminal echoed with the sound of emptiness. What went wrong? The answer was blowing in the wind. Literally, location, 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 the mantra of real estate and the curse of Mattala. It was just too remote, miles from any major city or significant tourist destination. Hambantota town was small, the surrounding area sparsely populated, no real existing demand for air travel. Why fly here when Colombo was better connected, closer to where people actually wanted to go? The logic was hard to ignore for airlines, for passengers. Then there was the wildlife. This was jungle territory. Elephants roamed nearby, sometimes on the access roads. Peacocks strutted on the tarmac. Birds were a constant hazard. Bird strikes became a serious issue, damaging aircraft. The build it and they will come philosophy failed spectacularly. The silence wasn't just in the sky, it was in the ledgers too. No revenue, or very little, not enough to cover costs, let alone repay the massive Chinese loans. The airport was hemorrhaging money. Daily, electricity bills alone were astronomical. For an empty building, staff salaries, maintenance, the costs piled up, while the income side remained stubbornly blank, a financial black hole swallowing public funds. The Chinese loans, they weren't charity, far from it. Commercial rates, strict repayment schedules, the initial loan for construction over $200 million, but that wasn't all. More money was needed to keep the lights on, to pay the interest. The debt grew, a heavy burden on the Sri Lankan economy. Whispers of a debt trap grew louder. Was this China's plan all along to gain leverage? The Sri Lankan government found itself in a bind, unable to make the airport profitable, unable to escape the debt. China's influence in the region was undeniable. They had funded ports, roads, and this airport, strategic assets, giving Beijing a significant foothold. The Hambantota port not far from Mattala. Eventually, Sri Lanka had to lease it to China. The planes weren't coming, the passengers stayed away, but the airport was there, a massive empty space. So, what do you do? With a brand new, unused airport, the government got creative, or perhaps desperate. If it couldn't serve passengers, maybe it could serve rice. Yes, you heard that right. Rice, paddy, parts of the sprawling cargo terminal, they were converted into temporary warehouses for storing surplus rice harvests. It was a surreal sight. A modern airport facility meant for high-tech logistics, global trade, now filled with sacks of grain, an agricultural depot. Better than leaving it completely empty, some argued. At least it was being used for something, anything. But it highlighted the absurdity of the situation, from international gateway to glorified grain silo. The fall from grace was steep and rather unorthodox. Then there were the charter flights, sporadic, occasional, sometimes a special flight for a dignitary visiting the region or a diverted flight due to weather in Colombo. Each arrival was a minor event, a brief flicker of activity, but not enough to sustain operations. Behind the grand designs and the billion-dollar figures, there are always people, real lives, real stories. The construction of Mattala, it promised jobs. Local communities in Hambantota, they were hopeful. Work on the site, in the terminal for the airlines, a chance for a steady income, a step up in life. For a while, the promise seemed real during the build, but what happens when the dream collapses? The jobs that were meant to last, they vanished. As airlines pulled out, as operations dwindled, cleaners, ground staff, security personnel, retail workers, many were left unemployed or with uncertain futures. They had pinned their hopes on this airport. Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. It stands as a lesson, a very expensive lesson etched in concrete and glass, a warning to others about grand infrastructure projects, especially those driven by political will more than practical need. The if you build it, they will come philosophy, it's a gamble. Sometimes it pays off, often it doesn't, particularly when you ignore basic realities like location and demand. This was a top-down decision, not a bottom-up need. Proper planning, due diligence, feasibility studies. These are not just bureaucratic hurdles, they are essential. Were they done for Mattala thoroughly, objectively, or were they tailored to fit a predetermined outcome? The allure of a legacy project can blind even the sharpest eyes. The desire to bring development to a home region, understandable, but not at any cost, not without a solid economic basis. Good intentions are not enough to make an airport viable. The role of foreign funding needs careful scrutiny, especially when it comes from a single powerful source. Are the terms fair? Is the project sustainable? Or does it create a cycle of debt and dependency? Sri Lanka's experience with Mattala and other Chinese-funded projects offers a cautionary tale for developing nations everywhere. Infrastructure is vital, but it must be the right infrastructure in the right place at the right time and for the right reasons. So, what's the takeaway from this silent giant? That vanity projects are a dangerous game. Years have passed since the grand opening and the grand silence, but the airport is still there, a physical reality. Governments have changed in Sri Lanka, new leaders, new ideas. The question remains, what to do with Mattala? Can this white elephant learn to fly, or at least pay its way? There are whispers, murmurs of revival, new plans. India has shown interest, a potential joint venture, a strategic move perhaps to counter Chinese influence. The idea of Indian involvement, it offers a glimmer. Could they bring in airlines, expertise, investment, transform Mattala into a pilot training center, a cargo hub, an aircraft maintenance and repair facility? These ideas have been floated before with little success. But perhaps with new partners and a new approach, things could be different. Hope, as they say, springs eternal even in the most desolate of airport terminals. The challenges remain formidable. The location hasn't changed. The wildlife is still there. The lack of nearby attractions persists. Any revival plan needs to be realistic, sustainable, not just another round of wishful thinking or political maneuvering. The debt to China still looms, a complex factor. Any new arrangement would have to navigate this reality. It's a geopolitical chessboard, this empty airport, with powerful players making their moves carefully. So, here we are, 2025. The airport still stands, a monument to ambition, a question mark on the landscape. What does the future hold for Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport? Will it finally find a sustainable role, or remain a curiosity, a place for lonely travelers and wandering peacocks? The options are limited, the challenge is immense, but the asset exists, millions invested. It can't just disappear, or can it? Perhaps it slowly fades back into the jungle. Could tourism in the Deep South eventually grow enough to justify it? Yala National Park is a gem, the coastline is beautiful. If infrastructure around it improves, hotels, roads, attractions, maybe, just maybe, a trickle of flights could become a stream, but that's a big if and a long-term game.